Hello, my dear students. I am Professor Dipak Kumar Karmaker, Professor, Department of English, Rajbari Govt College. I hope you can remember in my last online class, I started the very famous story, The Luncheon, by William Somerset Maugham. In the story, a young writer met a lady through correspondence, and he was giving her a luncheon at a very, very costly restaurant called Coyotes. Now, let me continue from where I stopped the other day, when she said, "I never eat anything for luncheon." The writer generously said, "Oh, don't say that." I answered generously, "I never eat more than one thing." In the beginning, she said she never eat anything for luncheon. Now she modifies what she said before. "I never eat more than one thing." Now she said that she eats only one thing in any luncheon whatsoever. I think people eat far too much nowadays. She says in a tone of regret that people eat too much. A little fish, perhaps. Okay, all right. Probably a little fish I can eat. I wonder if they have any salmon. She said, I'm thinking if they have the salmon fish. It's a very tasty sea fish. Well, it was early in the year for salmon. It was rather early for salmon. I mean, the season, still not the season. And it was not on the bill of fare. It was not in the menu. But I asked the waiter if there was any. So the writer wanted to know if they had any salmon. Yes, a beautiful salmon had just come in. Very excellent, wonderful salmon came in. It was the first they had had. The first of the season for salmon. First one of the season. I ordered it for my guest. The waiter asked her if she would have something while it was being cooked. The waiter wanted to know if she would something else while the salmon was being cooked. Salmon was not cooked, it was in raw form. So it needed to be cooked. It would surely take some time. She answered, no. She answered, no. I never eat more than one thing unless you have a little caviar. I never mind caviar. Caviar. What kind of food it is? Let's see. My heart sank a little. My heart, excuse me. Hello, Sabuni. Okay, I'll check it. Sorry. My heart sank a little. Means he was surprised, shocked, a little bit shocked. What a jolt. I knew I could not afford caviar. The writer was aware of the fact that caviar was too costly a food for him to purchase or buy. But I could not very well tell her that. But she could not, caviar was very costly, it was beyond his financial ability, but still he could not say no because he was a writer, educated person, a gentleman belonging to rather higher class of the society. It would be against the rules of good behavior to say directly no to his guest. This is why he could not say no. I told the waiter, by all means, to bring caviar. By all means, because why is it said that by all means? Because the writer had a struggle. He had to try. He had a struggle because as he was very rather badly off, he wanted to avoid ordering caviar, but he could not avoid it because of courtesy's sake. So there was a conflict. He wanted to say no, but he had to say yes. This is why he had to try, make some effort to say, to order caviar, that food, that costly food. For myself, I chose the cheapest dish on the menu. Cheapest dish, naturally, already what he ordered would surely cost but a lot of money. This is why he had to save. But instead of eating nothing, he had to eat something. If he did not eat anything, the guest might have thought that he was very miserly. This is why, logically, naturally, he, in the menu, he looked for the cheapest dish in order to save his money. So he ordered a mutton chop. Mutton chop. The mutton chop is the meat of castrated goat. I think now the reaction, instant reaction from our guest. I think you are unwise to eat meat, she said. What she means that the writer is really very foolish to eat meat. It was not at all wise of the writer to eat meat. I don't know how we can expect to work after eating everything like sharks. She said she could not understand how people could think of working after eating everything's like chops. I don't believe in overloading my stomach. She asserts that she did not have the philosophy or ideals of eating too much, overloading, stuffing your stomach. Now it's clear by this time that we get a glimpse into the character of the lady. Because the lady is a great glutton, and she's also a great, what is called, hypocrite, full of pretensions. She has one kind of appearance, but something else in her mind. I don't believe in overloading my stomach. Then came the question of drink. I never drink anything for lunch, and she said, I never drink anything for lunch. Well, it was good news for the writer, just a small piece of good news, because at least she would not drink anything. The writer was rather happy. So he said, neither do I. I answered promptly. At once, he said, I also do not drink anything. He was happy. But our lady guest said, as it continued, except white wine. Yes, I don't drink anything for lunch, but I drink one thing. That is only white wine. She proceeded as though I had not spoken. She continued to talk as if she did not hear what the writer had said. These French white wines are so light. These French white wines are pretty light. Very much, not strong. This wine has an alcohol, but it is light, means doesn't have much alcohol, very tasty. They are wonderful for the digestion. What would you like? I asked, hospitable still, but not exactly effusive. What would you like? What kind of white wine do you choose? I asked, hospitable still. He maintained an appearance of hospitality, but he was not effusive anymore. Effusive means someone means expressing much emotion, excitement, great interest, which he was in the beginning, because he thought the lady would be beautiful and she would appreciate his work. But in reality, what he finds, the lady is not at all attractive. On the other hand, she was hypocrite. She did not talk at all about his writing. And she was a kind of great danger, a threat. She gave me a bright, very bright, shining, and amicable, friendly, amicable flash of her white teeth. She showed her teeth. She gave me a bright and amicable flash of her white teeth. And what she says, my doctor won't let me drink anything but champagne. My doctor won't let me drink anything but champagne. So I have no option. I have the only option to drink champagne. I fancy. I fancy means I imagine, I think. I turned a trifle pale. Turned a trifle pale, trifle a little pale when someone loses the freshness, brightness of the face. It's called pale. I ordered half a bottle. I ordered half a bottle. I mentioned casually. I mentioned, I said casually, not seriously, that my doctor had absolutely forbidden me to drink champagne. Why? He says because if he did not add this, there could be a question of taking another champagne for himself also. That would add to his expense. Now the lady asks, what are you going to drink then? The writer says, water. She ate the caviar and she ate the salmon. She talked gaily of art and literature and music. Gaily means with great excitement and pleasure. But I wondered what the bill would come to. The writer was inside properly worried about the bill. When my mutton chop arrived, she took me quite seriously to task. Take one to task is to criticize someone severely. When my mutton chop came, she criticized me very much. I see that you were in the habit of eating a heavy luncheon. Oh, I see. She means that she would understand now that the writer was in the habit of eating a heavy luncheon, unlike her, which she claimed, although in reality it's just the opposite, as you can understand. I'm sure it's a mistake. Why don't you follow my example and just eat one thing? See what kind of hypocrite she is. She has already taken more than one items, and she asks the writer to follow her, and she eats. She says that she eats only one thing for lunch. I'm sure you would feel ever so much better for it. And she means that if the writer eats little, he would feel better. I'm only going to eat one thing, I said. The writer said, but I am going to eat only one thing. As a waiter came again with the bill of fare. The waiter came with the bill of fare, thinking that the luncheon is over. I mean, they would not order anything more. She waved him aside with an airy gesture. Waved him aside. She made a gesture with the hand. Aside, I mean, you please move, don't come now. It's an airy gesture. Airy means very proud. Like this. She continued. No, I never eat anything for lunch. No, I never eat anything for lunch. Just a bite. Just one bite of it. I never want more than that. And I eat that more as an excuse for conversation than anything else. She means that I eat very little, and I eat not because I am very greedy or I love eating, but just because when we have a conversation, we talk, we sometimes need to eat something, excuse for conversation. I couldn't possibly eat anything more. Now, she continues, I couldn't possibly eat anything for more unless they had some of those giant asparagus. Now she says, okay, all right. I think she said that she could not eat anything more. But if they had those giant big asparagus, she would eat. I should be sorry to leave Paris without having some of them. She means that she would be very much, it would be a great regret for her if she left Paris without tasting those asparagus. Now, what happens? What happens to the writer? My heart sank. Again, the writer was shocked. I had seen them in the shops, and I knew that they were horribly expensive. My mouth had often watered at the sight of them. It's an irony that the writer saw asparagus in the shop, and he had never the ability to afford food like costly food, a food as costly as asparagus. But now he himself cannot eat it, but he had to buy it for someone else whom he hardly knew. Madam wants to know if you have any of those giant asparagus. I asked the waiter. I tried with all my might to will him to say no. Now, affording asparagus was really something hard for the writer. He wanted that the waiter said no. He wanted. It was a situation where he had to say things which he did not want. He cannot tell the waiter that please say no. But inside he desired that he said no. So in his mind, he rather wanted a kind of prayed that, or he expected the waiter would say no. Okay, dear students, today after this, we like to end. We have read so far. Draw a close to the class. Hope you have enjoyed. Please pass some comments in the comment box below. Hope to meet you again in my next class, and we'll continue from where I stopped today. Take care, everybody.